Virgo, love and anger in the same person uh, at the same time toward you. And if that sounds contradictory, if it sounds like those two things can't coexist, then this reading is going to reframe something fundamental about how you understand both. Because they don't just coexist, they're related, um, more than related. Um, they're almost always in the context of real feeling, the same thing wearing different faces. Uh, let's start here um, with the anger, because the anger is probably what's most visible right now, most felt, most confusing, most likely to be misread. Um, and misreading it would be an expensive mistake. Anger, in the context of someone who loves you, um, is almost never actually about the thing it appears to be about. The surface content of the anger, whatever it is, whatever it's attached to, is the vehicle, um, not the cargo. Um, the cargo underneath the anger, generating it, um, is almost always something softer, um, something more vulnerable, something that, if expressed directly, would require a level of exposure that feels genuinely dangerous. Um, hurt, fear. The specific fear of, um, I care about this person more than I know how to say, and something about how this is going is making me feel like that caring might not be enough or might not be returned or might leave me more exposed than I'm equipped to handle. Um, and rather than say that, rather than stand in the specific terrifying vulnerability of, I am afraid because I love you, um, the emotion reroutes um, through the safer channel, through the channel that feels strong rather than exposed, through anger. And anger as a vehicle for unexpressed love and unexpressed fear is one of the most common, most human, most misunderstood dynamics in every relationship that has ever existed. Um, here's the psychological mechanism precisely. Um, because understanding it, not just feeling it, is what helps you navigate it without either shutting down or escalating. When someone loves deeply, uh, really loves at the level where the other person has genuine power to affect them, they become, by definition, vulnerable. The loving creates the vulnerability. They're the same thing. Um, you cannot love someone without giving them the capacity to hurt you. It's structurally impossible. And for people who have, through history, through previous experiences, learned that vulnerability is dangerous, that exposure produces pain, that showing someone how much they matter, um, in the clean, direct, undefended way tends to produce outcomes that cost something significant. For those people, uh, and this person might be one of them, the loving is terrifying, not the feeling itself. The exposure, the feeling requires. Um, the having given someone power over you reality that loving produces, and the specific terror of what if they use that power carelessly? What if they don't understand what they're holding? Um, what if I've given this and it doesn't land the way it deserved to? That terror, uh, converted through the nervous system, comes out as anger at you, not because you've necessarily done something wrong. Uh, Sometimes. But sometimes just because you exist in the position of being the one who holds the power their loving gave you, and that position, however passively arrived at, uh, is enough to generate the anger. Because the anger underneath, uh, is really just, please don't hurt me, um, said in the only language currently available. This reflection invites you to consider, when you encounter anger from someone who loves you, what do you typically do with it? Do you respond to the surface content, uh, to the thing the anger is attached to, and engage on those terms? Or do you try to find what's underneath it, the softer thing that generated the anger, um, and respond to that instead? Um, because those two responses produce completely different outcomes. One escalates, one resolves. Uh, and knowing which one you're doing in real time while the anger is present is one of the most valuable relational skills available. Now, you're all they think about. Um, let's talk about what that actually means in the context of the anger. Because these two things together, um, the anger and the constant thinking, tell a very specific story. When someone can't stop thinking about you, and when your name or your face or the memory of an interaction returns to them repeatedly, involuntarily, without being summoned, that's not casual interest. Casual interest doesn't produce that. Um, Casual interest produces the occasional thought, easily redirected, quickly replaced, not particularly sticky. What produces the constant thinking? Mm, the you are all they think about quality, um, is unresolved feeling. the mind keeps returning to what it hasn't finished processing, keeps revisiting what it hasn't resolved, um, keeps circling the thing that, for whatever reason, um, refuses to be filed under complete. Uh, and you, um, for this person, are emphatically not filed under complete. Not even close. You are the thing their mind keeps returning to because the feeling about you hasn't been resolved, hasn't been expressed, um, hasn't been given a form that allows it to settle. And the anger, the upset, um, is partly the frustration of that, of carrying something this large um, without a container for it, of loving someone this much without a clear path to expressing it in a way that doesn't feel catastrophically exposing. The anger, in part, is the pressure of unexpressed love, looking for any available exit, um, and finding the exit of anger because it's the exit that doesn't require vulnerability. Uh, Now, what does this require of you? Because this reading isn't just about understanding them, it's about what you do uh, with this understanding that actually moves something. The first thing, uh, and this is possibly the hardest, is not taking the anger personally, um, which is not the same as accepting mistreatment. Not at all. The distinction matters enormously, and it needs to be stated clearly. Um, Not taking it personally means understanding that the anger is not fundamentally about you. It's about the feeling they don't know how to carry. It's about the vulnerability they don't know how to express. It's about the history that taught them that softness is dangerous, um, and hardness is safe. Not accepting mistreatment means the anger still has limits. Um, Understanding its source doesn't make its expression acceptable without boundary. You can hold compassion for what generates the anger, um, and still require that it be expressed in ways that don't damage you. Those two things coexist. Um, Compassion for the source, clarity about the limits, um, both simultaneously. Um, because love, even love carrying anger, doesn't excuse the expression of that anger in ways that cross what you're willing to absorb. Understanding is not the same as unlimited tolerance, and a relationship where the angry person understands no limits because the other person understands too much becomes lopsided in a way that serves neither person. Know your limit, hold it with warmth, but hold it This reflection invites you to consider, what do you do when someone you care about directs anger at you that you sense is really about something else? Do you address the surface, uh, defend, explain, counter? Or do you try to reach underneath it to the thing that's actually generating it? And what would it look like um, in this specific situation to respond to what's underneath while still holding a boundary around how the surface is expressed? Because that combination, um, warmth for the underneath, boundary around the surface, is possibly the most sophisticated relational move available. And this situation might be asking you to make it um, the love piece. Um, let's actually spend some time here because it's the center of this and it deserves more than being mentioned in the title and then overshadowed by the anger. Mm? Uh, this person loves you not as a background condition, not as a general warmth, uh, as a specific, consuming, you are all they think about love. The kind that, uh, by definition, has reorganized their interior landscape around you, has made you the reference point, the thing other things are measured against. Um, the person whose name appears uninvited, persistent, um, in the middle of thoughts that were supposed to be about something else. That kind of love, whatever form it's taking right now, however obscured by the anger, um, is real. And it's worth receiving as real, um, rather than discounting it because the packaging, the anger, the upset, the complicated expression doesn't match the greeting card version of what love is supposed to look like. Real love, messy, complicated, sometimes arriving in anger shaped packaging, um, is what two actual human beings produce when they actually feel something, not the performed version, not the curated version, the real one, um, which is sometimes gorgeous and sometimes this. And both versions are real. Both deserve to be received as such. Here's what they possibly need um, from you in this moment that they don't know how to ask for. They need to know, uh, without having to make themselves completely vulnerable, to find out that the feeling is safe to bring to you, that the love, if it were expressed directly rather than through the anger, um, would be received, not used against them, not dismissed, not met with something that confirms every fear about what happens when you let someone see how much they matter. Um, and creating that safety, that specific, demonstrated, your love is safe here, safety might be the most important thing available to you right now. Um, Not a grand gesture, um, not a speech, something smaller, a quality of presence. When they're angry, that doesn't retreat or escalate, that stays, that communicates through the staying. um, I'm not going anywhere, um, not because of this, which might be exactly what the anger underneath was testing for. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it mean to stay, not physically, not passively, but emotionally present um, through someone's anger, um, without absorbing it as an attack and without retreating from it as a threat. What would that version of you look like um, in this specific situation with this specific person? Because that version, grounded, warm, present, boundaried, um, might be what this person has been waiting, possibly for a long time, to encounter. The person who stays, uh, even through this, especially through this, because here's the truth. Um, Underneath everything, two people who love each other, one of them angry, one of them trying to understand, um, are actually in one of the most intimate configurations available because they're both present, both engaged, both in it, however messily, rather than the clean, painless distance of two people who genuinely don't care. Ooh. The opposite of love, um, in the relational context, is not anger, um, it's indifference. And indifference is completely absent here. What's present uh, in the anger, in the upset, in the constant thinking is everything but indifference, uh, which means, however uncomfortable this moment is, there is something here worth working with, something real, something that navigated with care and honesty and the willingness to reach underneath the anger might become something genuinely extraordinary. Uh, because love that has been through something that has survived anger and upset and the complicated, ugly, beautiful reality of two people who actually feel things is sturdier than love that hasn't, more honest, um, more real, uh, more capable of holding the weight of an actual life rather than just the idealized version of one. Uh, this might be the moment, as uncomfortable as it is right now, that this connection becomes that kind of love, the real kind. Um, the kind that survives contact with actual human complexity and becomes more solid for having survived it. The power is yours. Uh, it always has been. Reach underneath the anger, find what's generating it, respond to that um, with warmth and with limits, um, and watch what happens when the thing underneath the anger finally, carefully, for the first time, um, gets the response it was actually looking for. It's looking for you. It has been the whole time. Uh, Take what resonates, softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Tell me in the comments when someone is angry with you, what's your first instinct? Defend, withdraw, or try to find what's underneath? Drop it below. And have you ever realized someone's anger was actually about love? What gave it away? Tell me. That's everything today. Go reach underneath uh, with warmth and with limits. Um, that's the whole move. See you soon.